Guys, welcome to the first video for this channel. It's me editing my photographs in Lightroom. Let's start with the first one. It's from Cambodia, village in Cambodia of a monk and his dog. So for those of you who know my style and that arrived to this channel through my primary one, where I already have some photo tutorials, know that the style is classic photo magazine look. National Geographic style, Steve McCurry style. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in. This is from my discovery part of the Lightroom. So let me show you. The first thing that of course we do is maybe cropping it. So this is my crop. Next thing what I do is I always lower the contrast on the images. I want the image to be more flat because then I can play more with the colors and the clarity. I increase actually the contrast with clarity. Always what I do most of the time, 99%, is lowering the highlights down to bottom. That's just my way of editing, and it extra flattens the image that I want, and then increasing the shadows. So now as you can see, the image is super flat, and you don't have a big contrast. So now comes the time when we play with the contrast using the whites, the blacks, and the clarity. Increasing the whites will brighten the image even more, and then using the blacks will darken the dark spots of that we have increased with the shadows. Next, because I felt that the image was too warm, I lowered the temperature to colder a bit. So now you can see it's more natural look, even though the yellowish, the warm part of the image here, I mean the warm original image, it's very original. It's very much like the scene was, the atmosphere was in Cambodia, but I will get that yellowish tones and that warmth through the color palette. Uh, so we continue further. I'm lowering the vibrance, so even more flattening the color palette, even more making it colder and saturating it. The next step is the saturation. I'm always desaturating my images. -20 is the minimum, and it can vary to -30, 35, depends on the saturation of the image. Next, we play with the colors. This image is dominated by red, yellow, and orange, sorry, tones. So I'm increasing the reds a bit so it can affect the the, the original the authentic clothing for the Buddhist monks, and then I am increasing the orange tone, luminous, and is also increased. So as you can see, it already pops out. The wall, the clothing, everything popped out, even the skin of the monk. Next thing is the yellow. So voila, it decreases, actually it's saturated and the luminance is lifted up, so it's brightening the yellow part of the image. Parallelly, it's saturating it. I don't want to be burned out like super yellow. Next thing is the texture. I love this tool, which is giving me is kind of, it's playing with the contrast from my eyes. So now we start playing with the contrast. So you see the texture gives more real feel to the image, and adding the grain, which I love grain, and then it gives this magazine look, print look. Next thing is the clarity. So boom, the clarity gives the contrast for me. So now the image is very much contrasted, even though it has those like pastel look a bit, and and it gives the colors to look flat, saturated, but also strong and powerful. So you'll see now, including with the dehazing, it even more increases the orange. So you see how the image morphs into more dramatic, vintage, classic look, Steve McCurry style. Next thing is applying the grayness. I love grain. Image documentary street photograph without grain for me is totally off. So yeah, 30, from 25 I started from 25 going up to whatever it's needed. Next tool is the sharpening tool. I lower the sharpening. I don't like those sharp edges on the images. That doesn't feel right for me. I like more natural. Next thing is I applied the masking. So masking I applied only on the subject. So this is something new, new addition to the Lightroom software. I mean, new, relatively new, and yeah, on the masking I played with the whites. So the whites are increased, so you can see on the dog. The dog is more popping, and also the monk himself. The last thing I did is the geometry. Bump a little bit more of the perspective, and yeah, the image is done. I would have liked to have more space down here, so the image can breathe, because this is very cropped, and this is very old image. It's taken with my 60D cropped with a 50mm lens, and so yeah, it's very tight. It has the tight feeling on the image, but still, because of the above the head there is room, there is space, so it has the it's not that suffocating. Anyway, this is the first video. I know it's maybe not as interesting and perfect as it should be, but we'll have time with the next videos, and I plan to do for every image. I plan to do tutorials. Some of them will be like this, just clicking and you see the edits, bum bum bum, or the other ones will be very long, like an hour, because sometimes editing an image takes 20 minutes, an hour, or depends on the image and my inspiration and creativity at the moment. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.